They want us to think that we're an insignificant speck of dust, but let me tell you, we are so much more than dust in the wind.
At least 4 billion useless eaters will be eliminated by the year 2050.
I'm still waiting for somebody to show me gas pressure without a container.
I personally don't believe anything they say, right down to the God they claim they worship.
None of the math adds up.
You could stack up all their math books, all their science books, and even put all their degrees stacked up on top of that, and you still wouldn't be high enough to see the curvature.
This is exactly why grounding is so important.
We see too far.
We're just regular people who know we're being lied to. We're tired of it.
The bottom line is, there's only one choice left, and that's to dismantle this whole thing from the top down.
So, man, why don't you tell everybody who you are and where they can find you and what you do? That's always a good place to start.
It's always the hardest part of the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
I dance around like a fool on the internet. How about that?
Yeah. So we have a lot in common.
My name is Brandon Joe Williams. My online name is OneStupidFuck. It's onestupidfuck.com. And I research definitions and the law in an effort to try to understand the chaos that we live inside of. And then I do all sorts of crazy shit based off that and release documents and whatever, basically.
Nice.
So are you?
So is that like
are
low
you
self-esteem thing?
Go ahead. What was it?
Is the name like a low self-esteem thing or something?
No, it's. I thought I was gonna get canceled because I'm like talking about how I'm racist,
Right.
and I'm like I go fucking pretty crazy, right? But it's all in good fun, right?
Right.
And I was like, I'm moving into this cancel culture world, and I'm doing this super crazy thing, and I've been doing marketing and sales forever, and I'm super bored. And if I have to call myself the law guy or some horse shit, I'd rather just eat a hand grenade. You know what I mean? I just can't do it. I just can't look at another horse shit fucking website. If I do, I'm going to scream. And I just said, I am going to build this thing in a way where not only can I not get canceled, I'm going to cancel myself, and people can't even do bad press on me because all the bad press will just become good press. And so I decided to flip the whole script on everything, right? And I decided to make the whole thing based on self-deprecating humor, because there's a few things I've learned over the years of doing marketing and sales. Rule number one is if you write a book, now all of a sudden you can say whatever you want about the subject of which you write the book on. So if you write a book on law, then now all of a sudden the society just gives you, it could be a piece of shit book. It could be a book that like AI wrote and you just printed it, right? If it's got your name on it and you wrote the book, then now you get like carte blanche. You could say whatever you want on that subject, and no one can really, for whatever reason, society just agrees that there's nothing that anybody can do about it. Right?
You're good point. Pass. You're good.
That's law number one.
Yeah.
Law number two is you don't need, like, everyone's trying to like, hey, I'm so great, call me. Hey, I'm so great, I'm the best. Everyone else is shit. And I'm just like, everything has to be, so careful. Everything has to be so, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like,
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. And that's not really, so you go up in front of the camera and it's a suit and tie and I'm so great and I'm this and that. And then you go into your group chat and you're sending memes about like, racist hangings and fucking exploding kids. And, it's like, especially, guys,
Right.
Guys have, there's a lot of memes out there where it's like, me after I never rat on my friends about the group chat, and it's like a clip from like a mafia movie or whatever. I think those are hilarious. But it's a it's just bullshit, man. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
You know, now you have a reputation and you're constantly fighting to defend this reputation, and it's like exhausting. It's like, and then you have a Yelp reviews and Google reviews. It's like, you know what? Fuck that. I'm going to go on Google and Yelp. I'm going to give myself 1 stars. I'm going to tell everybody to give me fucking 1 stars. I'm going to call myself one stupid fuck. I'm going to be in a goddamn mankini. I'm going to look like a fucking idiot. I'm going to turn the whole fucking thing into how fucking dumb I am. And I just wanted to do it. I actually wanted to do it for like a year. I had that domain for like a fucking year. And I just didn't know what I was going to do with it. And if someone would have said that you're going to be learning all this crazy legal shit, and that's what you're going to, I would have thought they were crazy.
Right.
I thought it was going to go in more of like a marketing consulting kind of an angle. So yeah, you know, and then for whatever reason, it's so funny because if you go up there and you say I'm the best and I'm the best, everybody wants to tear you down. And then if you go on there and you say I'm the worst, I'm the biggest piece of shit in the world, everybody wants to lift you up. So
I see what you did there.
But I didn't quite know that was going to happen. That was kind of interesting, right? And then the reason why the website and all the marketing is all in such like an antagonistic kind of way is because most people are very fearful of the information that I publish. That's the main thing. Everyone's scared. And like harmonics, if you look up like emotional harmonics, an emotional harmonic of the emotional tone of fear is antagonism.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why that is basically like the technical background behind why everything was designed the way that it was. And when you write books about things and then you self-deprecate, it's like an invincibility. It's like an invincibility formula.
It's true.
So
how'd you stumble upon this anyways, man? You said you weren't even out looking for it, or
I had the payroll mafia here in California, called the Employment Development Department, came after a business that I had just acquired, a landscaping business, and that's kind of what started it all. They sent me a very large bill, and they were coming in hot, and I had to figure it out.
Was it all that? It was like EPA stuff?
No, it was like illegal workers.
Wow.
Oh, I see.
I mean, he is in California, so
No, they'll just make up whatever, and then now you're guilty until proven innocent, and if you don't respond, then now they're going to court, and it's just a racket.
Right. Okay.
Oh, it's
all
a big racket.
Yeah, so I just was going down these rabbit holes trying to fix that problem, and I started learning about private irrevocable trusts and that kind of thing, and then I got rid of the corporation that was in. I moved all the assets and all the money and everything into a private irrevocable trust, and then I told the EDD to go fuck themselves, because they can't get into it, they can't touch it, they can't access it, they can't even see what's in there anymore. And I was going to go after them and fight them and all this, and then when I realized I just didn't have to, that's kind of when that whole thing ended, and they just kind of went away. But
nice.
The better part of the story is, that's what, there was a lot of doors that had been opened, and there's a lot of questions that had been posed, and there's a lot of things that had been placed on the table during that process. And by the time I had defeated the EDD, I was like, well, shit, this is incredible. I want to keep going down this line.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
then
you've had successful litigation using these tactics, or?
Well, so we've had a lot of success outside of litigation.
I was going to say, you probably want to avoid litigation.
Yes.
Well, we're involved in a lot of litigation right now, but it's very, very huge. Like, we're talking like infinite money kind of shit. We're talking like MX is going to give me a black card that I never have to pay with no limit.
Gotcha.
So like the litigation stuff is not like going to happen overnight. The litigation stuff. The litigation, I mean, that's probably over $400 million in litigation. And then I've got 9 more cases that are about ready to come down the pipeline. That's going to be like another 400, 500, 600. Actually, no, it's going to be about $1 billion, because one of the cases is $500 million. So,
oh shit. Well, you're going to need that black card then.
So that I don't think any of the litigation stuff is going to be solved anytime soon.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of success outside of litigation too, though.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at, man. And bless your heart for doing it, man, because I think a lot of people are interested in it, but they don't know where to go when they're looking for this information, and they're probably too afraid and need to see someone else do it first. But
Yeah.
effectively, I feel like you could break yourself free from the matrix by using what's going on in your program. I actually recently signed up. I think I'm on like video 5 or something like that.
Very cool.
Dude. So
He's already selling for you too in our group text. Like, dudes, you gotta.
I love it.
I'm like, we'll talk to it. Let's talk to him first, then we'll see.
No, I have a lot of word of mouth. I do a lot of paid advertising because I enjoy it, and it's my whole last background of the last 12 years or 14 years of a professional in the working field. But
Right.
the organic sharing and the organic growth is unbelievable. I mean, it's, my email list is probably 35,000 right now,
Wow.
like today. And then, I get probably like a 72% open rate and probably like a 6 to 11% click rate on over 400,000 emails a month.
Whoa.
Insane.
So it's we get about I just opened up a new website for the law firm website is fairly new. It's only about 6 months old. And then the Amnesty Coalition, which is my own nation, that website just launched very recently, like a few weeks ago. We're over 100,000 visitors per month to all 3 websites combined.
I was going to ask you, can you tell people about the Amnesty Coalition? Because I heard you in a video breaking down the 2 words actually, and making it a very interesting point about why you named it that specifically, and that hit home with me. So if you want to explain that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So the Amnesty Coalition. So if you look up the definition of the word nation in law, I can actually show it to you guys if you want to do a screen share.
Okay.
You're more than welcome to.
Yes, sir.
I prefer to share things as much as possible and go through them and
That's beautiful.
Sharing is caring.
show the source of everything. Yeah.
All right, it's down there. Let me see.
Let's see here. Where is it? This should be it. Here we go. So this is the amnestycoalition.org, O-R-G. If you type in .com, it'll redirect you over to .org because I bought both because I know a lot of people don't know which one's which. So this is the definition of the word nation. Most people think the word nation means country. Country and nation are 2 very different words. The word nation is an independent body politic, a society of men united together for the purpose of promoting their mutual safety and advantage by the joint efforts of their combined strength. But every combination of men who govern themselves independently of all others will not be considered a nation. A body of pirates, for example, who govern themselves are not a nation. To constitute a nation, another ingredient is required. The body thus formed must respect other nations in general and each of their members in particular. Such a society has her affairs and her interests. She deliberates and takes resolutions in common, thus becoming a moral person who possesses an understanding and will peculiar to herself and is susceptible of obligations and rights. And that's a little bit complicated. It's actually very simple. It's the exact same definition of how cells come together to form a human body, which operates as one gigantic organism.
Mm-hmm. Very
It's the
nice.
same exact idea, right? So a physical body would not be necessarily a nation. That'd be kind of like an arguable point. But an online clan on Call of Duty, your work, your home, your family, local chess club, knitting club, bingo. I can go on and on and on. These are all legal nations, and you can see that all over the place. Like, for example, if you go to the Department of Interior. So this is the section of the U.S. government that deals with let's see here. That deals with tribes.
Okay.
Now, if you look here, what we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Department of the Interior plays a central role in how the United States stewards its public lands, increases environmental protections, pursues environmental justice, and here's the kicker, here's the shocker, and honors our nation-to-nation relationship with tribes. So the U.S. government, so basically tribal nations are
Mhm.
legally separate countries.
Wow.
Interesting.
And they have their own police, and the
Mhm.
local police can only go up to the edge of the tribal police, and then they can give information to the tribal police, and then the tribal police is the only one who can. It's like if local police went into tribal territory, it would be an international act of war.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, because
Wow.
international,
Uh-huh.
nation to nation, right?
Wow.
So if you're a local cop in Oklahoma or whatever, and you drive into Chippewa territory, that's actually an international it could be considered international trespassing.
Jeez. That's insanity.
So if you go to 18 USC 11, which is the definition of a foreign government in relation to the way that the United States defines it, the
Mhm.
term foreign government includes any government, faction, or body of insurgents within a country with which the United States is at peace. Now, this is the kicker. This is the shocker. Irrespective of recognition by the United States. So you're starting to see this in media, these micronations and stuff. You're going to see my nation coming up in the media at some point in time, whether it's by my own hands or others. I don't care. And what they're going to say is they're going to say that the nation of the Amnesty Coalition has not been recognized by the United States. First off, that is going to change very soon because we are going to be working with the Department of the Interior at some point in the future. Second off, that has absolutely nothing to do with the conversation. It's an assumption. It's a false assumption that recognition has anything to do with a nation. It's completely irrelevant.
Yeah, because they
And
can
so
just go,
anyone
"Oh, we
could
don't
join-
recognize you as a nation." That just means you're not. No, that's bullshit. So
That's just irrelevant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the definition of the word peace in law is here. It's also very similar to the definition of the word nation. The tranquility enjoyed by a political society, internally by the good order which reigns among its members, and externally by the good understanding it has with all other nations. Applied to the internal regulation of a nation, peace imports, which means shows or indicates.
Mhm.
Peace imports, in a technical sense, not merely a state of repose and security as opposed to one of violence or warfare, but likewise a state of public order and decorum.
Black's Law.
That is the legal definition of the word peace. And peace is important because 18 USC 11, that is the linchpin between a foreign government and God knows what, a terrorist cell.
yeah,
So it's not recognition,
Mm-hmm.
it's peace.
Interesting.
So if
Wow.
you are at peace, then you can have your own foreign government. If you are not at peace, then that wouldn't work. Okay. So that's why we have a covenant, and that covenant is based upon peace, and we talk about that a lot throughout the covenant. This is the covenant here, and so we do have our own foreign nation. And some people are like, "Well, do you have any land?" And the answer to that is no. We don't need land. You don't need land to have a nation. And if you'd like an example of that, you can go to a very, very fascinating group called the Sovereign Military Order of Malta. Order of Malta.int is the website. This is a very old organization, and it is a completely separate nation. They issue their own passports, license plates, etc. They are a part of the UN, and they do not have any land at all whatsoever.
It's wild.
I've definitely
That's
never heard of
wild.
that one. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they've been
So-
around a long time.
Yeah, they've been around for like 900 years. Yeah, so they're
It's a
Or-
little
or
bit.
Why didn't I
more.
read about them in the history books? What's up with that, man?
they go back to I could be wrong on this, but they stretch all the way back to like Knights Templar, and they're connected into that, and
Right.
there's a whole
Makes
what do you call it? Rosicrucianism, and
Yeah.
all. There's a whole very fascinating, very interesting background behind a lot of this. It all ties together, you know what I mean? Eventually, so
And so
But,
what it all boils down to is that we are indentured servants held in place by the definition of words.
that's essentially what my entire platform is based off of. Yes.
Thanks,
It's all
Rufus.
voluntary. So everything that we live in is basically a coercion through the manipulation of definitions of words in order to get you to voluntarily ensnare yourself in their bullshit. That's essentially what it is. Like, for example, the word mandate. So, during COVID and that kind of thing, they use the word mandate. If you look up the legal definition of the word mandate, it means optional.
Yeah.
But everyone looks at that word and their emotional understanding of that word is that it's required. But that's not the definition of the word. So they shift the emotional reactions that people have to words in order to get people to think certain things or do certain things. And then that essentially is, in my opinion, the entire structure of the entire matrix. And you can literally just change any of the contracts or exit any of the contracts or adjust the words of the contracts anytime you want, by absolutely any means. And there's absolutely nothing anyone can do about it. And that's actually the way it works.
Wow. I wanted to ask you about a few of the contracts that we're under, but before that, because you just touched on it, can you explain the difference between legal and lawful?
So before 1871, in the United States of America, every single state was considered an independent nation state.
Yep.
So basically, the way that America worked before 1871, it worked very similar to the European Union, where it's New Mexico was actually a country, and California was actually a country, and Texas is actually a country, right? And technically speaking, that system is still in place. So what happened was in 1871, after the Civil War, the government was incorporated and they started creating all of these corporations, and it became the situation where you have unincorporated and incorporated, and you have these two worlds that kind of come together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then since 1871, the corporate side, the corporation side of all of this has gotten worse and more degraded and worse, and everything has gotten much, much worse since that time period because of that happened. So lawful essentially would be indicating to the original system, the unincorporated system, which includes common law. It includes maybe equity, which is a certain type of law, and some other things as well. And then you have legal, which would be more apt to say that would be more like the corporate world that came after 1871. And then that would include statutes and codes and articles and that kind of thing. So those two worlds are intertwined at this point. The problem is that the lawful world is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and the lights are kind of going out in that world. And the legal world is getting bigger and bigger and stronger and more prevalent. And the problem with that is that the legal world is very complicated and very difficult, whereas the lawful world is extremely simple. So simple, in fact, that it's you could you almost wouldn't even need to. You can almost cover the whole subject in like one page of information.
Oh, man.
That's how simple it is. Like someone comes into town, they're doing stuff people don't like. There's a court. They're innocent until proven guilty.
Mm-hmm.
They're tried by a jury of their peers. Their peers say fuck this guy, and then the jury just makes up whatever they need to do to repair the damage they have done. If they've done a bunch of damage to the town's reputation, then they need to go out and help repair that reputation and actually increase it to a higher point than it was previous before they damaged it. That would be their sentencing. So they would just make it up. There's no codes. There's no anything to kind of look up. There's nothing to really understand. And then the person would go out and do that. And if they didn't do it, there'd be more harsh penalties that they would face. And it's all just made up on the fly. And because the towns are pretty small, this isn't something that would happen all the time. I mean, it was talk of the town for months if something like this were to happen, because this is not really, it's not really something that really occurs very often. And you have one sheriff, and that's it. That's the whole. That's the whole thing. That's the whole program.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah,
a lot better than what.
Now, equity was created, which is a little bit of a different type of common law, because common law was so brutal. Someone would come into town, they'd fuck around, and they would just hang him and slice his arms off right in the middle of the fucking town square. It got to be brutal in some areas, extremely brutal and extremely over-wielded. And that's where things like equity came in. And then later on, when the populations got bigger and bigger and bigger, it was more difficult to apply a lot of these things. And then it became that's when the statutory system started coming in, and then and then after the Civil War, the country was so fucked up that it was looking for solutions, and there was bankruptcy issues, and it was just a mess. And that's kind of when that whole old school structure of America, what America was founded on, was essentially, it wasn't replaced, but there was this whole other system that was kind of placed on top of it. Yeah, it was sort of hijacked essentially, right?
Yeah.
And that time period when the government was incorporated was the same time period when the 14th Amendment was enacted. The 14th Amendment is the first time anywhere in any of the Constitution or amendments talking about two types of citizenship. And if you look up what's called these slaughterhouse cases, which is a series of Supreme Court cases that interpreted what the 14th Amendment was trying to say when they said there's two different types of citizenship status, you can just type it right into Google, slaughterhouse cases. It'll pop right up, and it'll talk about two types of citizenship, the federal citizen and the state citizen. And no one knows that any of this exists, right?
Okay.
So over the years, what has happened is that so basically, as far as I can tell from my research, when a lot of people in America didn't want the slaves to be free, just the way it is. Okay. So what the 14th Amendment did essentially is it said, hey, don't worry, guys, we're not going to make the slaves full citizens. We're going to create this whole new citizenship category, which doesn't have a whole lot of rights and privileges, and we're going to put them in that category. So they're not going to be in indentured servitude anymore, but they're also not going to have all the rights that you guys have. And it was this like middle ground that was sort of established. And so what happened is that at that time, there was this split into two different citizenship categories. There was now the state citizen, which is what Americans always were since the dawn of time, and that's what the Constitution applies to. And then now there was this new thing called federal citizen. A federal citizen is basically an officer or employee of the government in Washington, D.C., because Washington, D.C. was also created at that time period as well. So what happened is that federal citizens on paper lived in the District of Columbia, and state citizens on paper lived in their state, and they had the full rights of a real American. Now, over the years, that term federal citizen has been changed to U.S. citizen. So a U.S. citizen lives in the District of Columbia and doesn't have the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the right to bear arms and all the other good stuff, right? So they made up this other term, firearms, and nobody realizes that the Second Amendment doesn't say anything about firearms. It only says something about arms, and you need a license because a firearm isn't an arm, and you aren't in the United States of America, and you need a driver's license because you don't have the right to travel because the Constitution doesn't apply to you, blah, 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 blah. But the thing is, they never forced you into this category. You willingly write on everything that you're a U.S. citizen. Do you see?
Sneaky ass bastards.
So the state citizen category was essentially removed entirely. And they basically replaced the idea of a state citizen with this idea called a national, right? So when you look up in 8 USC 1101 subsection A21, you look up the word national. I can show it to you guys. So,
all right. This is wild, man. It's a lot to take in.
So 8 USC 1101. We go down to subsection A21. The term national. Now, mind you, the term national is not capitalized ever, which is interesting, right?
Yes.
It's not a proper noun, right?
Yeah.
The term national means a person owing permanent allegiance to a state. Okay. Now, if we go to a couple things that we have to cover on this is the term permanent, right? Let's see here. They used to have these clickable, but they removed that probably because of me. So I'll have to go through here manually, right? So the term permanent, when they say it actually has a special definition, which is an oxymoron. The term permanent means a relationship of continuing or lasting nature as distinguished from temporary, but a relationship may be permanent even though it is one that may be dissolved eventually at the instance either of the United States or of the individual in accordance with law.
Mhm.
So it's basically doesn't mean dick,
Yeah,
essentially.
totally
right?
permanent.
So we actually just remove that word entirely from the definition when we read it. And then if I find the one of the most deadly definitions of anything in all of law is the definition of the word person. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
almost every single section in law has a different definition of the word person, but all of them include legal fictions such as trusts, estates, partnerships, companies, corporations, associations. The definition in Title 8, I'm having a hard time finding it, which it used to just be clickable. There we go. The term person means an individual or an organization.
What?
So if we take
Okay.
those definitions, if we take the definition of the word person and replace the word person with the definition, and we remove the term permanent, and we remove the word state, and because state and nation mean the same thing, we've already looked up the word nation. So if I reread it now, it's going to make a lot more sense. The term national means an individual or organization owing allegiance to a nation.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean you live there. You see the big
Right.
difference?
Yeah.
Right. Yes,
Has
sir.
nothing to do with residence and domicile, which are two
Right.
totally different words anyways, but has nothing to do with residence or domicile. It has to do with allegiance, right? So if you pledge allegiance
Mm-hmm.
and you are a individual or an organization, or if you are speaking on behalf of an organization, then that individual or organization becomes a national of that particular nation. I'm a national of the nation of the Amnesty Coalition.
Right.
You can be a national of the Chippewa tribe nation. You can be a national of the California Republic. You can be a national of South Africa or Mexico or Canada or Florida.
Mm-hmm.
You see,
Yeah.
a national of any nation, right? You could be you could even say you're a national of your online clan that you have on Call of Duty. You know, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Right.
Right.
So now, if you owe allegiance to the nation called United States,
Mm-hmm.
you become a national of the United States, which is defined right here. The term national of the United States means A, citizen of the United States, or B, a person who, though not a citizen of the United States,
Right.
owes allegiance to the United States. So essentially the way it works is that a U.S. citizen is essentially living in the District of Columbia, right? And I can prove that by showing you that 28 U.S.C. 3002, and then we go down to subsection 15. United States means a federal corporation. Okay, and if you look in the Internal Revenue Code, the tax code, it has my favorite definition of the word person. This is the definition that I pretty much assume everywhere because I think it's the most clean and it's the most verbose. The term person shall be construed to mean and include an individual, a trust, estate, partnership, association, company, or corporation. So think about this. If United States is a corporation, that means United States is a person.
Person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is actually how it works. That's why in criminal cases, you have United States versus John Doe. United States is a person.
Yeah. Damn.
Okay. And now we have UCC 9-307. UCC stands for the Uniform Commercial Code. We're going to find out where is that person located. Location of United States. The United States is located in the District of Columbia. We don't know where, though. We don't know where. We don't know what shape, and we don't know how large this state called United States is.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, they like it that way.
So when you confer So the question is, how do you get here? How do you get
Yeah.
into this state called United States? Okay. The answer to that comes from 42 USC 9102. It's actually quite simple. Subsection 18. So this is the definition of the term United States citizen, right? Now this is very fascinating because if you look at subsection C, you can see here, this is very clear. Any corporation, partnership, association, or other entity organized or existing under the laws of the United States. So every single corporation that was opened in any state is considered by itself a person, and that person is considered a United States citizen. But when it comes to an individual, we're going to be looking at definition letter A. Any individual who is a citizen of the United States by law, birth, or naturalization, right? Birth would be born in this unknown area in the District of Columbia. Law would mean existing or organized under the laws of. And then you have the mother lode of them all. You have the term naturalization, which in my opinion is 99.99% of all everything, in my opinion. You can almost remove these other two terms because they're very easy to fight. Mm-hmm. Naturalization, in my opinion, is pretty much the only way that you can become anything. It's the only way that you can locate yourself anywhere, in my opinion. And the definition of the word naturalization is going to rip your skull clean off. If you think everything I've told you so far is shocking, this is like 100x as shocking. So strap in. So it's 8 USC 1101, subsection A23, the definition of the term naturalization. The term naturalization means the conferring of nationality of a state upon a person after birth by any means whatsoever.
Wow. What does that mean?
It means that you live wherever you say you live, and because you said you live in the United States, you moved out of the United States of America into the District of Columbia, and that's why you need a concealed carry permit for a firearm. You don't have the Second Amendment. That's why you need a driver's license. You don't have the right to travel. And that's also why you pay taxes, because you don't live in the United States of America.
So because we're a person, yeah.
You what?
Are we even people at this point, or what are we? What are they?
You're not people. You're persons. Whenever they have the plural, they always use the word persons. They don't use the word plural.
Yes, and that's why that's probably why they want everyone to be
persons.
Even if you go,
even when you go on an elevator, it'll say
saw that today.
16 persons.
I literally saw that today at Publix, and I was like, "Why the hell does it say persons?" And I had no clue you were gonna say that. That's
So we the people is in the Constitution, but they don't use people. You'll never see the word people used anywhere in any of their codes. They're not talking about people. They're talking about persons.
This is so depressing.
Oh, death is here.
So
they
the
love
reason
those
why
plurals. That's why they do they, them too.
Yeah. So the reason why you live in the District of Columbia is because you told them, and actually you continue to tell them all the time. And the rabbit hole on this gets deeper, because the thing is that you also got to think this. So if we go to the original state names, right? What's the original state name for, let's say, California, right? The original state name for California, if we look on here, it was California Republic, right?
Yeah.
It's not state of California. So when you sign up for voter registration, or when you get a driver's license, you're not signing, you're not naturalizing, you're not conferring the nationality of a state called California Republic upon a person after birth by any means whatsoever. You're conferring the nationality of a state called State of California upon a person after birth by any means whatsoever. Now you got to ask yourself, is California Republic and State of California in two different locations? And the answer is yes. State of California is listed on Dun & Bradstreet as a business. And I'm going to show that to you right now.
Holy crap.
So State of California is the District of Columbia. Dun & Bradstreet business directory. Here is your business directory for the business called State of California.
Is that true for all states? Same thing, District of Columbia?
Yes. It's all in the District of Columbia.
Wow.
So when you get a driver's license, you are conferring the nationality of the state called State of California upon yourself as a person after birth by any means whatsoever, right? So I don't live in State of California. I've never been there. I've never visited there. And in fact, I don't even know where it's at. And it's the same thing with United States. I've never been there, have no clue what it is. I've never visited. In fact, I don't even know where it is. I know kind of where it is. I know it's in the 10 square mile radius called the District of Columbia, but I don't know, even if I was in the District of Columbia, how do I know I'm in United States?
Yeah. It's on the third floor of some building.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So the thing is this. So if you become a national of the United States, going back to that term, which is 8 USC 1101 subsection 822, it's a citizen of the United States, or B, a person who, though not a citizen of the United States, owes permanent allegiance to the United States. So I am a non-citizen national who essentially domiciles in the California Republic, but I pledge exact and specific type of allegiance to this unknown location state called United States, and that's all I need to get a passport. You can see that at 22 USC 212. Persons entitled to a passport. No passport shall be granted or issued to or verified for any other persons than those owing allegiance, whether citizens or not, to the United States. You can also see 22 CFR 51.2. Passports are issued only to a U.S. national.
Wow.
Wow. If anybody listening on Spotify, you're gonna want to click the link that's gonna be there.
Yeah.
And you have to see this.
He's showing sauce for everything he's saying.
Yeah,
if you're only
it's
listening to
wild,
audio.
man. And forgive our silence. I think it's more stupor.
No, this is a learning episode for me, man.
This is wild, man. I didn't expect this. I didn't even really know a whole lot of what was going on.
Dude, first of all, are you a lawyer?
I'm what's called an attorney in fact.
Okay.
There's two different types of attorneys, so we can get into that a little bit later. Let me finish this first, though.
Yep.
So
yeah, go for it, man.
So the I-9 is the employment eligibility verification form. Everybody always check box 1, a citizen of the United States. I check box 2, a non-citizen national of the United States, right? And they just added this box here because of us, which is so fucking funny.
That's awesome.
Just saying that it's a felony to lie on this and try to scare us or whatever. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really consider any of these people my enemy. I just laugh, but I do know that they find us terribly annoying. So we have here lists of acceptable documents, right? So let's say you want to work, right? You have to establish two different things to work, right? You have to establish, and by the way, this only applies to companies, corporations, and trusts that are organized under the laws of the United States. If you create private irrevocable trusts, like what I was saying at the beginning of the show with the EDD, none of this applies to your quote business endeavors. The word business is a whole rabbit hole in itself. We're not going to get into it. It takes too long, but it's not actually a business. A private irrevocable trust is not a business. So they say, oh, it's a business, and oh, it's this, and it actually doesn't fit any of those definitions. A private irrevocable trust is actually a foreign trust. And when you look in the codes, that's the way it works. So it's a nation to nation. It's international at that point. It's foreign, right? So this, what I'm about ready to show you right here, it only applies for corporations and stuff that are organized under the laws of the United States. So if you don't even have a corporation and you have nothing and you're just doing work and just collecting money or whatever, or income or whatever you want to call it, it's a really interesting conversation, because even that has a lot more protections than when you are organized under the laws of, right? But if it is organized under the laws of the United States, then this is the way that it would have to work. You have to prove two things. You have to prove identity, and you have to prove employment authorization. Now, if you look at list A, this one here is documents that establish both instantaneously in one document. List B establish only identity, and list C establish only employment authorization. Now, going back to persons entitled to a passport, if you owe allegiance, whether being a citizen or not, to the United States, you can get yourself a passport. Section number 1 of list A that established both identity and employment authorization is a U.S. passport or U.S. passport card.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a social security number, driver's license. You don't need anything, green card. You don't need anything else. All you need to do is pledge allegiance to the United States, get yourself a passport, and then you can legally work anywhere at any point in time. Passports are good for 10 years. Okay. There's different types of passports. Getting into all that, if you go to 22 CFR 51.3, you have types of passports, right? And you see here, regular passport is issued to a national of the United States. If you go to the passport office, they're going to tell you it's only issued to citizens. That is completely false.
Wow.
How do they get away with that?
Nobody knows. Nobody at the passport office knows any of the information I am showing on this show.
I don't doubt that.
I'm assuming you've asked.
We've had a lot of issues. They don't know. District managers don't even know. They think they call us sovereign citizens, even though I'm literally showing them all this live on my phone.
Right.
And they just freak out because they don't want to seem like they've been working there for 15 years. And now you look like a fucking idiot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
They're like, I just want to retire. I don't need some time for this.
I already want to kill myself. Now you're going to show me this. So you have a service passport, an official passport, and a diplomatic passport, and then you have the passport card, right? And you can look these up online, and they have different colors for passports USA, and you go to images, and here's the different colors for the different types of passports, right?
Okay.
So you can get all these different types of passports. So the question becomes, how do you get the different types of passports? And what's funny is because no one reads anything and no one has a clue and no one actually takes the time to actually understand anything, you'll realize that if you look on the DS11 application, this is what you filled out when you went and got your passport.
Right.
There is this section right next to your motherfucking name that says DOSNFR. D stands for diplomatic, O stands for official, S stands for service, and NFR stands for regular. It's the type of passport. They're asking you what type of passport would you like?
I love you and hate you at the same time, man. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Sorry.
Now this gets even more exciting because then you also have this other section of the passport here, END #. What is that? It comes from the Foreign Affairs Manual, which we're going to look up an unclassified section, 8 FAM 505.2. This is window shopping. So list of current endorsements. It tells you what type of different passports. You have the official passport, the regular passport, service passport, or these particular endorsements apply to all the various types of passports, right? So if you go down, these are all endorsement codes. And you can write into the DS11 which endorsement code you would like to have. For example, 09, the bearer is a United States national and not a United States citizen.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Are you fucking kidding me? And there's people who will argue this shit and say there's no such thing as a United States national. It's right there. It's right there.
Now, the one that I find the most fascinating is 11. Wow. The bearer is ambassador at large. Now, that's fascinating, right? Now, people always think ambassador at large for a country. That is false. That is false. If you look up ambassador at large, the definition is an ambassador with special duties not appointed to a particular country. So you ask yourself, okay, so what are they an ambassador of? The answer is a nation. And you can see here, look at the example. Ambassador at large for global women's issues. Global women's issues is not a location.
Yeah. And you already mentioned how it's not.
It's a nation.
It doesn't mean a location. You're right.
Doesn't mean a location. So if you're an ambassador at large, if you go onto the internet and you type in diplomatic and consular immunity guide for law enforcement. It'll pop right up. This is a PDF file straight from the U.S. Department of State. This is a document that's all about diplomatic and consular immunity. You're going to scroll down. There's not a whole lot here. It's a very pretty, almost brochure style write-up, right?
Yeah.
They talk about nationals of the United States in here, by the way. They're going to go all the way down to a very, very simple, in the appendix section, they have a little graph or spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet shows the types of immunity that each level has. An ambassador at large is this one, diplomatic agent. Diplomatic agent, can they be arrested or detained? No. Can you enter their residence subject to ordinary procedures? No. And there are, and if you look on this on the first no, you have subsection 1 or superscript 1. We're going to go down to see what that means. Reasonable constraints, however, may be applied in emergency circumstances involving self-defense, public safety, or the prevention of serious criminal acts. So if you do diplomatic and you do endorsement code number 11, they're going to freak out and tell you need to have an embassy, you need to have a sponsor. I've never seen anything anywhere that verifies all that. But the problem is you're going to need to go through like litigation probably to get that issued to you.
Yeah.
But the regular passport, what we're doing is, so what everyone does is they go through here, they never fill any of this out, which is a problem. Now you have the passport book, passport card, or both. So we get the card, we use that as identification. We get rid of the driver's license. You don't need it. We don't live in the District of Columbia. You don't need a license to drive. So the thing is that then you scroll down here and you have these various questions. U.S. citizen. Is your mom a U.S. citizen? No. Is your dad a U.S. citizen? No. Is your wife a U.S. citizen? Or your spouse? No.
Oh man.
And then what you do is on the first page where it says permanent address or mailing address. Well, no, they have mailing address, and then I think on page 2 they have a permanent address. Yeah, permanent address. So permanent address, what they're trying to do here is they're trying to get you to write your address, right? And then the way that you write your address, when you put the zip code in there, it's referring to some place in the District of Columbia, essentially, right?
Right.
So what you do here is you just type in, and you look right here. It says street/RFD number or URB. So URB has to do with Puerto Rico. RFD means rule free delivery. And it basically what that means is I'm not in the District of Columbia. I'm not even in your system. And you can literally just write that right in the fucking thing.
This is crazy, dude. My brain's glitching out right now.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch this like 3 times. And it's just
so in my free course on video number 11, I teach how to fill all this out, and you can also find it. Where I got a lot of my information from is a really cool dude. His name is Colonel Wilson, and he has a very goofy website. He builds custom moonshine stills. And if you go to his website and you click on his little menu, state citizen passport /beat the law.
That's a smart man. That's not a goofy site. That's a smart man right there.
And he's fucking brilliant. And he breaks a lot of this information down in extreme details. He gives you a lot of the codes. And I learned a lot of what I know from him. And he even shows you here, box by box, every single thing, how to sign, everything. It's all here. So I teach some other stuff that I had found myself. And there's also something called an explanatory statement that's attached to it. So I take this information, and then on my website, the amnestycoalition.org, I have a resources and documents section. And if you go down, I have here the explanatory statement that we attach to the DS11 form. And the way that works is if you look at the signature spot where you sign, now look at here. It's very simple. I declare under penalty of perjury all of the following. 1, I am a citizen or non-citizen national of the United States. So people who, like you said earlier, people who say that this isn't real, it's literally absolutely hysterical. It's on the fucking passport.
I'll also say, though, because I had a passport, and I remember reading that and having no clue, like assuming a non-citizen national was something that like I had just never heard about in my life, and didn't. I figured it was someone from another country that did. I had no clue, and that's what they're
The word,
demanding
yeah.
now, you know.
That's the wording, yeah. It's the way they worded it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I have not performed any of the acts listed under acts or conditions on page 4 of the instructions of this application. And then we have here, unless explanatory statement is attached. So an explanatory statement can be attached to explain various aspects of the DS-11 form. So what I have here is I have a totally free document. And what you're doing is it's basically a fee passport for a non-commercial foreign national ambassador at large. It's sort of like a combo of a whole bunch of different things all put together, right?
Okay.
And basically it goes through information and definitions, and the covenant is here, and you get this notarized and you edit it, put your name in there, and then you submit this as an explanatory statement along with the DS-11. And this is how we're getting passport cards and passports that give us diplomatic immunity.
Man,
Bro, this is what's up. This is the free country I've been hearing all about.
I know it does exist. It's really here.
So say you already have a passport, though. Is there anything? I know a lot of people are gonna be like, "Well, I already have a passport." So what?
You can go, as long as you're willing to pay the $200 or $300. You can go and get a new passport every week if you want to.
Oh, okay.
And now, obviously, is this like the instantaneous thing that you're out of the system and you're ready to go, or there's coppers probably up?
No.
Okay, that's what I wanted.
No. You have the driver's license, you have voter registration. So when you sign up for voter registration, you are signing under penalty of perjury that you are a resident of the nation called State of California, which is located in the District of Columbia.
Oh God, it's just it's a horrible.
So you just have to peel the layers back and kind of reverse engineer all these contracts that you've entered.
So you can pledge allegiance to anything you want. It doesn't mean you live there. And then also you got to think too, is that, so the word domicile means like your permanent legal residence or permanent legal place that you live, right? When you look up the legal definition of the word residence, the actual legal definition, which is hilarious because you never see the word domicile on anything. So is resident or residence. It's a temporary living place that someone is living in where they intend to return to the domicile, and they are at the residence temporarily for some sort of recreational or business related activities.
So it's like an Airbnb.
It's an Airbnb. And the reason why they use the word resident on everything is because the federal government only has jurisdiction over commercial matters. Like even the word motor vehicle, DMV motor vehicle. So this is going to blow your mind. If you look up the definition of the term motor vehicle, there's actually two different terms. I'll show them to you. You have 49 CFR 390.5T. Okay, and then we're going to need that one, and then we're going to need 18 USC 31. And then we're going to need, so for example,
no one has ever dumped this much sauce on our podcast. I'm just saying.
No.
It's just
This is crazy.
I
He's
love
like
it.
a machine.
I know.
He's like
do you
a
have a photographic memory, or do you have it all written down in front of you? Be honest.
What is this?
Be honest.
it's more obsession than anything, to be honest
Fair
with you.
enough.
I don't,
Fair enough.
He's
Am
got
I
a problem.
punked? We got a guy that says he's a stupid fuck on here, making me feel like a stupid fuck.
Yeah.
All right, so you go to the Department of Motor Vehicles, right? So the term motor vehicle means every description of carriage or other contrivance propelled or drawn by mechanical power and used for commercial purposes on the highways in the transportation of passengers and property or cargo. Now it's cool when they have a clickable word like this. That means it has a special definition. So we're going to go down. I know where it's at. It's subsection 10. We're just going to scroll down to subsection 10. Used for commercial purposes. The term used for commercial purposes means the carriage of persons, not people, or property for any fare, fee, rate, charge, or other consideration, or directly in or indirectly in connection with any business or other undertaking intended for profit.
Holy shit. So it's
So
real,
the only
'cause we
motor
hear people say that
vehicles
all the time, but
the only motor vehicles on the road are basically delivery drivers
yeah,
and
commercial
taxis
vehicles
and Ubers.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody else is not a motor vehicle. So you ask yourself, well, what is it then? It's a motor carrier.
Ah.
And there's two types of motor carriers. There's a for-hire motor carrier, and there's a private motor carrier. What is a private motor carrier?
I thought a motor carrier was that thing you take in the grocery store when you twist your ankle. So you're telling me that's not what it is?
Nope. Now, because the federal government doesn't have any jurisdiction over anything that's not commercial, they say everything with some sort of commercial undertone to it. It has to have some kind of commercial coloration. It's like like literally by law they have to, right? So the definition of a private motor carrier, which is what I have on all my shit, is a private motor carrier transports its own cargo, usually as a part of a business that produces, uses, sells, and or buys that cargo that is being hauled. A private motor carrier transports its own goods and is required to have a US DOT number, but does not need operating authority. You don't need to smog your shit when you have a private motor carrier DOT number. There's no registration fees. There's no license. There's nothing. You don't need dick. It's free. You can get one online in about 20 minutes for free, and you can use the same number on all of your vehicles.
Wow.
Holy shit.
And just so
Okay.
just so anybody who didn't miss it or who missed it in the beginning and who's going to miss it in the end, he offers a free course that you can go sign up for and learn about. I don't know about all of this, but a lot of stuff. So
yeah, now you have a driver's license, right? So a license by definition is permission to do something that would otherwise not be allowable, right?
I wanted to ask
Right.
you about all those. There's a lot of them.
So what's the definition of the word driver? Driver from 49 CFR 390.5T. Driver means any person who operates any commercial motor vehicle.
Commercial.
Not a motor carrier.
They mess with you, man. They mess with, even with the word. I'm just gonna be
bunch of
honest. Even with
spells.
the word persons, when they put it somewhere, it's always struck me wrong. But I'm like, maybe I'm just not smart enough to know like that I'm using it wrong. Like they do that on purpose. It's
So
absolutely
people
ridiculous.
means men and women.
Yeah,
Persons
a living man
means individuals, trusts, associations, estates, partnerships, companies, and corporations.
Oh, what about her, him? What is that one? Pronouns?
They, them.
That's all part of. That's all part of.
That's just
only
fucking
men and women have rights. So that whole thing is just all about
taking away
a
rights.
Zerzim is not a man or a woman. So they don't have rights anymore. They're basically at that point they're an individual, an estate, a partnership, a trust, a company, a corporation. At that point.
So like I want to set the tone for the rest of the time we have left. Like I was listening to your video and you said you have a background in marketing or whatever, but then I heard you say the term "I'm not going to hold your dick for you." I don't feel like that's very good marketing, bro. Like
I think that's great marketing.
Like
That's my kind of
if
guy.
you offer to hold their dick, man. No, I'm just kidding. I
God,
fucking
yeah.
was busting up laughing when I'm not gonna hold your dick for you. I was like, oh my god, that's the best way to put it, man. That's so good.
Well, everybody wants you to hold their dick, and they want to do it for free, and they want you to be like on top of it. And it's like, bro, like what dimension? What alien fucking race are you from,
I
bro?
just love how you're
what
like,
the
I'm gonna
fuck?
charge you an exorbitant amount. It's gonna be huge. I'll do it for you, but it's gonna be a ridiculous amount. I was like,
Straight up pain is like
I love it.
I say that shit all the time.
No, but I do want to ask you about, because you mentioned licenses. Like, I was talking to my friend about it the other day. Like, everything is a license. You need a license to drive. You need a license to get married. You need a license for everything you do. You're not allowed to collect rainwater. You're not like, and then people want to call this a free country. Like, I guess if you're smart and you know the ins and outs, it is a free country. But you're living by like an HOA's rule, and the HOA is the United States Corporation. It's like, God.
Well, no, the way that works is County of Los Angeles is a corporation located in the District of Columbia, and when you purchase a property, the title company contracts you in with County of Los Angeles, and County of Los Angeles actually owns your property.
Mm-hmm.
So that you pay property taxes to County of Los Angeles. They're actually the actual legal owners, and you're essentially the registered owner or beneficial owner of that property. You have usage rights of that property, but you don't own that property. You're a tenant, right? So the way that you fix that is something called a fee simple title. And you can actually look that up on Google. It's everywhere. This is not some secret thing. Fee simple title. It's actually a legal term. Fee simple title. If I type it in right now, fee simple title, right away, right on Google, just easy as hell. It comes straight from countyofnapa.org, which is amazing. Fee simple means the maximum interest in the property being unqualified, of indefinite duration, and freely transferable and inheritable. And there's even graphs on the right-hand side of Google showing free simple versus other types of. So what the problem is that when you get a property, you don't tell the title company that you want a fee simple title.
Okay.
And when you do, they don't know what that means. Now, the thing is, you're paying the title company for a service. So if you ask the title company for a fee simple title and they don't know how to get you one, what's the response? I'm paying you to figure that out. I'm not paying you to teach you how to do your job, right? Now, the thing is, if they can't figure it out, what do you do? If you have a plumber that comes to your house and he can't fix your pipes, what do you do?
Call another plumber.
Call another title company. Fuck these people. Fuck them. They're out.
Fuck 'em.
So that's the issue. The issue is you don't have a fee simple title on your property, and that's what you need.
So what about, do you know about allodial titles? Is that different?
It's the same thing.
Same thing? Okay.
Same thing.
Same thing. Okay, that's just a different name for it. Because I've heard of those. I was just curious because what you were saying sounded just like it, and I was like, is that different? Right. Awesome. So
now what they're going to say is they're going to say, until you pay off the property, you can't do that because the lender, blah, 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 blah. It's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah,
Because
well,
the thing
the only time I've heard it is once you've paid off your property, you can request the allodial title. And
we've developed a whole way to do it where you don't have to pay it. Yeah. We've developed the whole way. So we get the whole mortgage discharged and we get the fee simple all right, but you got to litigate. You got to beat some real
Anybody
fucking
listening,
rules.
please go check out his stuff. Please.
Yeah, I know. I'm already
He's
gonna
not
go.
even charging you for it. He's just telling you.
up.
He's just giving you this info. Go look at it. I see all of you in my comments when I post stuff about common law or whatever saying, oh, that's bullshit. No one could do it. I've seen videos of people claiming sovereign and getting pulled over. He's literally showing you in the law where it is. If you're listening to this, go back and watch it. He is showing you in the United States codes or whatever you want to call it where this is. This is not bullshit. It's true. They just make you think it's bullshit to scare you from ever trying to do it. And it's not an easy process. And if you make one mistake, you could mess up bad. But I mean, you know way more about that than I do. But
No. I used to think that too. No. There are a lot of things that are super, super easy. The passport's super easy. Unsubscribing from federal income tax is actually the easiest thing of everything I teach. That's the easiest thing you can do. I mean, we're talking 5 minutes and zero risk.
And Florida doesn't have states, so I got to do this.
So if there was a graph and there was the easiest and lowest, like let's say there was two graphs, one was ease and one was risk, right?
Yeah.
The very, very bottom of both of those scales would be to unsubscribe from federal income tax. That's like
on it.
That is the easiest fucking thing. We're talking 5 fucking minutes. Now, if you're an employee of a business and you have an employer and it's not an automatic system, but it's like there's somebody actually there manually processing the documentation, you will often have a hard time with that aspect. If it's all automated and it's all through like an automated system, it's actually very easy typically to get a lot of that stuff done. But if you are self-employed or if you pay yourself or if it's cash or if it's not through an employer that's in all these systems, that's 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes. And you can be unsubscribed from federal income tax. The way that works is, and I'll show it to you because all the rest of the presentation is what's needed to understand the federal income tax. But now that we've gone through all that, I'll do another screen share. This is like a super, super easy presentation. I'll show it to you. So it's 26 CFR 1.871-1.
You're fucking Rain Man. That's all I know.
So we have here, for purposes of the income tax, the alien individuals, and that's so funny. They always use the word alien, by the way, which is pretty fast. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. Alien is a foreigner. So that's also kind of confusing, but we're not going to get into all that right now. For purposes of the income tax, alien individuals are divided generally into two classes, namely resident aliens and non-resident aliens. What they're talking about is foreigners that are temporarily living in the District of Columbia for the purposes of some sort of business or recreational purpose.
Mhm.
And then we have foreigners who are not temporarily in the District of Columbia for recreational or business purposes. Okay, that's what those things mean, based off of everything I've shown you so far.
Yeah.
Resident alien individuals are, in general, taxable the same as citizens of the United States. That is, a resident alien is taxable on income derived from all sources, including sources without the United States. That's what everybody thinks they are, and they're not. Non-resident alien individuals are taxable only on certain income from sources within the District of Columbia and on the income described in blah, blah, blah. This doesn't go anywhere. If you try to look this up, it doesn't go anywhere. So we just usually ignore that. Okay, that's just a smoke screen. Now, this is what happened, though. So again, we're gonna go back to. I'm gonna show this to you because I personally believe that what I'm about ready to show you is the same as what I've already shown you, which is the definition of the term naturalization. Right. So if we go back to naturalization from Title 8, the term naturalization means the conferring of nationality of a state upon a person after birth by any means whatsoever. Now, check this out. However, non-resident alien individuals may elect to be treated as U.S. residents for purposes of determining their income tax liability. So when you sign up for voter registration or when you fill out a W-9 tax form, which says that you're a U.S. citizen or other U.S. person, or when you get a driver's license, you're essentially electing to be treated as a U.S. resident for the purposes of determining your income tax liability through the process of naturalization.
Okay, but to be fair, because I know people are going to say it, so you move to a new city, you're applying for a new job. You get the job you want. You're like, this is awesome. They say, okay, we need you to fill out these tax forms. What do you do at that point that won't jeopardize your job and you can still do this?
This is where it gets a little complicated. So the first thing you're going to give them, now again, if they have automated systems and they use things like E-Verify, and it's all automated, it's way easier. Because what I'm about ready to show you... What I'm about ready to show you is totally legal. So when you do it, if it's an automated system, it works. The problem is that if there's humans on the line, they've never, ever, ever, ever seen anything I'm about ready to show you ever.
One time AI helps. Let's do this.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
They are going to freak out. And when I say freak out, I mean they get lawyers involved. They're panicking. Unless you're close with your employer and it's a smaller operation and they're more right-leaning, they typically have the opposite. They're actually really excited. Anybody else, anything corporate, they get very fucking freaked. They get spooked like you wouldn't believe. Right?
You're talking directly to me. Everything you're saying is like, hey Ted, this is you. So
it's me too.
Yeah,
it's me too. Yep.
So the first thing you're going to give them is this I-9. They're going to check a non-citizen national of the United States. Okay. And the next thing you're going to give them is what's called a W-8 BEN form. And they've never seen one of these before. Certificate of foreign status. I don't live in the United States.
Yeah.
I'm not a U.S. citizen or other U.S. person, including a resident alien individual, which is the W-9 form. This is when you elected to be treated as a U.S. resident for the purposes of determining your income tax liability.
It's so crazy because without what you explain in the beginning, And again, reading stuff like this before, I automatically went to, this is someone who was born in another country and is here illegally, because it says alien. That's where it puts my brain.
And that's what's so funny, because even a resident is still a resident alien, which is even more confusing. Everyone's an alien,
man. Mind blowing. Sorry,
everyone's an alien. And the only one who isn't alien is a U.S. citizen. That's because the U.S. citizen is the same as the federal citizen category from the 14th Amendment. It means an officer or employee of the government.
Oh my God.
That's what USC. So basically, if I were to boil all this down into English, employees of the District of Columbia is a U.S. citizen. A resident alien is somebody who doesn't work for the government, who is temporarily visiting, but they don't live here. They really shouldn't be here. They're just here for like a business transaction, and then they're going to fuck off.
Yeah.
A non-resident alien is somebody who they're not here temporarily for business related reasons, and they don't work here, and they're just not here. Non-resident alien. Like, for example, you have a 1040 tax form, which is the one that people fill out whenever they fill out, you typically for self-employment and your own business and stuff like that, right?
Been there.
Well, nobody knows 1040 NR, non-resident alien 1040.
Oh my God. And I bet if you go to a place, these aren't like out anywhere. Like, you'd have to ask for them. You have to.
Most accountants don't even know about this shit.
That's crazy, bro.
And it's right there. It took you not even 10 seconds, 5 seconds to type it in, and it comes right up.
So a W8BEN is for a foreign individual. A W8EXP is for a foreign entity. W8EXP, W8BEN. W8EXP, W8BEN. Now, my private irrevocable trust that I have, if I were to file something on for them, which I don't need to, but if I needed to for some reason, I would fill out a W8EXP. So if someone calls me and they go, "Oh, we need a W9." You couldn't get a W9 from me out of my cold, dead fucking hands. You're going to get a W8EXP.
Yeah.
Now, look at this type of entity. My entity is a foreign government. It's an international organization. It's a foreign tax exempt organization. And that's it.
That's it.
So my private irrevocable trusts are those three categories.
Damn.
And then when they ask for your ID, you just give them your passport card that you
just give them the passport card. I have a passport card that I carry with me everywhere, just like a driver's license.
Do you haul ass down the interstate everywhere you go?
Oh God, yes.
And have you ever been pulled over?
I have an 800 horsepower Shelby GT500, and I have a brand new Triumph Speed Triple 1200 RS.
Bro, I love you.
Wow,
you're my hero.
What, and you got the DOT stamp just slapped on the side there? Or what?
It's just a giant finger. Is it?
No. So I'll show you. If you go on the amnestycoalition.org and you go to the resources and documents section, and you go down to, we issue our own diplomatic automobile plates. And there's some information here. There's some steps that you need to do before you do this. But all you do is just click this link right here, and boom, it pops right up. Everything's already populated for you. You go to edit design.
Oh my God.
And then once you get your private motor carrier DOT number from the FMSCA, you just type it in right here. Type in your number. So you're going to double click here.
So you don't have to look like a tool with those stickers on the side of your.
So here's my number, 4043625. Hit enter or hit apply. There you go. Your plate's done.
Oh my gosh.
Dude,
this is a very lonely lifestyle.
For $26, you can get it shipped to you. Ready to go.
Because a lot of people aren't open to this. They don't even know where to begin with this. They get freaked out by it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but also, sorry, Bill, go ahead.
Because you got to deal with I don't want to say regular people, right? But
normies,
people caught up in the system, in the matrix, right? Like, you got to deal with this on a daily basis still. Like,
I get a lot of questions. I get a lot of things. I get a lot of interest. I get a lot of, I mean, we do live in a world where everyone's trying to look for this information right now. So 10, 15 years ago, oh yeah. Like you talk to the old school guys like James C. Lovett and a lot of these guys, they've lived a very lonely life for a long time. But now I feel like I'm blessed because everyone wants this. Everyone's going crazy for it. This is the time. Yeah, this is the time. And you got to understand, I've given this presentation or pieces of this presentation or various types of this presentation hundreds of times.
Yeah.
I've done, you know, like if you go on my Instagram, I have 3 pinned videos. There are 3 10-minute breakdowns. 1 10-minute breakdown of nationality and taxation, 1 10-minute breakdown of cars and driving, and 1 10-minute breakdown of infinite money and negotiable instruments and how to have infinite money. And so the thing is that I what we've done today is parts of 2 of those, which is the driving and the nationality and taxation. We didn't get into the financials because it takes a while to talk about that one. Yeah. But the driving one, there's more to say on that, actually. There's more to say on the nationality stuff, too. We covered that pretty good. But the driving thing, like, for example, the word certificate in law means a copy of something or proof that some event took place, right? So when you first buy a vehicle brand new, you get what's called the MCO or MSO, which is the manufacturer certificate or statement of origin. That is actually the actual title. And if you go onto your DMV website and you start snooping around and looking up like all the information as to how registration works and all that, they'll tell you straight up that they need that MCO or MSO in order to register the vehicle because they issue a certificate of title. That pink slip. What a pink slip is, it's basically
say that. Damn.
So a pink slip, what a pink slip is in the most simple idea is you are donating this asset called a vehicle or car to a private foreign business called State of California. The Department of Motor Vehicles, motor vehicle means used for commercial purposes on the highways for some sort of fee, rate, charge, or other consideration. So you're donating or contracting to donate this car to the state in exchange for allowing you to operate that car commercially on the highways. They specifically use the word highways, which is kind of interesting. It's not even motor vehicle doesn't apply to local streets. It only applies to highways, which goes even deeper, right? So you are listed on the certificate of title as the registered owner.
Right.
Well, type in what is the definition of registered owner into law dictionary, and the definition that you're going to find, and I want to see if I can pull it up right now.
Of course you do. I love it. Yes.
The definition of the word registered owner basically means it's a person who's entitled to receive dividend or interest payments on some sort of security. So you basically have usage rights to use the car, but you don't own the car. You gave away ownership rights to the state via the DMV in exchange for being able to use the vehicle in commerce. And that's why, like in the state of California, so in the state of California, if you look up the definition of the word automobile, it says non-commercial. The word motor vehicle means commercial. So what happened is you had an automobile, you wanted to convert it into a motor vehicle. They only let you convert it into a motor vehicle if you give them legal ownership and you only take basically beneficial or usage ownership of the vehicle. And then it goes even crazier because then the police are giving you tickets. How does that work? The police are a private security force that are driving around and they are enforcing the state's property. That's why you have to insure the vehicle. You're insuring the state's property. It's not your property. That's why they can take it. They can bash the windows in. They can do whatever they want. The police have more rights in terms of what's going on with your vehicle than you do. They actually are closer to the source of ownership of the vehicle than you are.
I always wondered how that worked. Like they can just trash the shit out of your car when they search you and then just leave you on the side of the road like, good luck, bitch.
Yep. So the police, that's why there's a sheriff's office and a police. The sheriff's office is the actual legal, that's the actual legal police, quote unquote.
and they're
right?
elected. They're not just
So sheriffs, that's why when you have a criminal case, it's not the police, it's the sheriff for criminal cases. The police is on the commercial side. So what police officers are basically doing, essentially, in its most boiled down fashion, is they are policing the commercial ownership of the state's vehicles. And what they do is they manufacture tickets, which the tickets actually say complaint right on them.
Yes.
The word complaint means lawsuit.
Oh my God.
So a complaint or a ticket is a micro lawsuit for breach of contract.
You agreed to
Unbelievable.
abide by our rules if you use them.
And it's all voluntary. In fact, it gets even more worse because you paid. You actually paid to enter these contracts.
Dude, I
Oh
just
my
went to the DMV last week.
You
I'm
did?
not gonna
And
lie.
you were he was
I
bitching hard about the DMV.
was.
You literally paid money to enter into these contracts.
Unbelievable.
The wife just reminded
And
me
you
about
waited like an
tags,
hour
too.
and a half, dude.
And you waited an hour and a half and all the
Some
bullshit.
smelly ass fat guy.
I'm gonna get into this. I'm sold.
bro.
I'm signing up. I'm doing the whole 9. But I gotta know, like, if you're okay with answering this question, can you still well, I mean, can you still buy homes? Like, can you still own land? Is all that like the same, or is this like a you will own nothing and be happy kind of thing?
No. So if you guys have time, we can get into the financial part. It's pretty much the most exciting part. You think everything else is exciting. The financial side is the most exciting part of all.
Okay, yeah. Then
Yeah, we
let's
got to get into
go out with a banger.
As long as you got time, man. I feel
Yeah,
like
I'm
what's
down.
the
I'm having a
bill
blast.
we
Let's
owe you?
go.
What's the bill we
Yeah,
owe you after this is all
yeah.
over, man? This
So-
is top notch.
All right, so let me show you. So you can actually get paid for buying a home.
Stop it, dude. Stop it.
My man.
Let's just set it up to where I have to really put the bar high. You know what I mean? So I'm going to explain to you how you can actually get paid for buying a home.
Clip
okay?
at 1 hour and 26 minutes. How you can get
Got
paid
it.
for buying a home.
So if we look up the definition of the word money, okay, which I'm gonna pull a lot of these off my own website. If you guys, I always recommend that you do go into the dictionary and verify all this because it's just faster and easier for me. If we go into the dictionary, it's gonna be like my course where I'm making songs and shit because it takes me half an hour to find a goddamn definition.
Yeah.
Okay, so money. So Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution says no state shall make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. Right. Tender means unconditional offer, by the way. Most people don't know that either. The word tender, unconditional offer.
Interesting.
Very
interesting.
This is the main definition that we operate off of. In usual and ordinary acceptation, it means gold, silver, or paper money used as a circulating medium of exchange and does not embrace notes, bonds, evidences of debt, or other personal or real estate. Does not embrace notes. Now, what is in your wallet?
A note. Well, I don't. Not mine, but
A credit, like a piece of plastic that.
We'll get into the credit. We'll get into the
it.
credit stuff in a minute. But so it's a Federal Reserve note.
Correct.
So the word money does not embrace notes. So by definition, that is not money. So you ask yourself, okay, then what is it? The answer to the question comes from UCC 3, UCC Article 3, Section 104, and the answer to that question is this term, negotiable instrument. The word instrument means a document or deed or contract. It's a very, very simple term. It's a very uncomplicated, very, very simple, very generic, very vague term, instrument. It means almost everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Deeds, whatever you want to say, it kind of means that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Negotiable means transferable or exchangeable. So if I were to change this into more English in terms of, let's say, a Federal Reserve note, it would be an exchangeable security.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Right.
So a Federal Reserve note is an exchangeable security, essentially, right? So there's two types of negotiable instruments, right? So a negotiable instrument means an unconditional promise or order to pay. And we can get into all the other details, but we'll just stop there, trying to keep it without getting too overwhelmed here.
Right.
So what is the definition of an unconditional promise to pay?
You tell me.
By any means necessary.
No, the definition of an unconditional promise
Contract.
to pay is a promissory note.
Okay. Oh yeah.
And the word note, let me see here. Where is it? Oh, not seeing it. Let me see here. Oh, here it is. So if you look in the Bill of Exchange Act, a note means promissory note. Okay. So you say Federal Reserve note. Okay. You see that word note? That means promissory note. Promissory note is a negotiable instrument. It is an unconditional promise to pay.
Okay.
If you look on any documentation, when you get a car, when you do, there's always going to be a promise to pay section somewhere on the back or something like that. That's because that has to have that terminology. You're also going to see it in your card member agreement for your credit cards. There's always a promise to pay section. Everything that gets produced on your credit card, every time you put a credit card into a credit card reader, you are producing a promise to pay, a promissory note, which is a negotiable instrument. It has the same value in law. The actual receipt, the actual production of the promise that you just produced has the same value in law as Federal Reserve notes. And I'm going to show you how that works. But negotiable instrument, there's two types. There's the promissory note, and there's also the bill of exchange, right? Now, because you have two different types of, there's only two types of negotiable instruments: unconditional promise to pay or an unconditional order to pay. The bill of exchange is the other side of the equation, the unconditional order to pay. You get bills in the mail. Your phone bill says that you have to pay 110 of these negotiable instruments before this particular date. It's an unconditional order to pay.
Okay.
That's what a bill is, and bill is shortening for bill of exchange.
Fair enough.
So the way that works is basically we don't have money. We have negotiable instruments, and they work off of the rules of negotiable instruments. Okay. So then you start asking yourself, okay, so how do negotiable instruments work then, right? And you have a whole section here, which I highly recommend. If anyone wants to learn more about this and they want to know how to have infinite money, the number one thing that you should do is you should read all of UCC Article 3, which is these various sections. It seems like a lot. It kind of is, and it's kind of not. Once you get a lot of the basic definitions down, it actually becomes pretty simple to read most of this. And you can always read it in small sections. Like, for example, if we click on subject matter, this is one of the first sections talking about UCC Article 3. This is very, very fascinating. It says here, this article applies to negotiable instruments. It does not apply to money. They are telling you straight up that this is not about money.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So notes and bills are not money. They are negotiable instruments. They are securities.
Unbelievable.
They are contracts that do only one. Now it's interesting. You're going to see in UCC Article 3, you can have a negotiable instrument which is both a note and a bill, which is a little bit more advanced. But typically, you just look at the document and you say to yourself, is there anything in this document that is unconditionally promising to pay anything to anyone? Or is there anything in this document that is unconditionally ordering me or anyone else to pay? If the answer is yes to either one of those questions, you are holding a negotiable instrument.
It's insane, dude.
So
the terminology is everything.
yeah, so the way this works is
They got us with a bunch of spells, Bill.
Yeah, they did.
so we have here. So we've already gone through, they build it out. They build it out. Subject matter, then definitions, then they define what a negotiable instrument is, and then they start getting into the definition in more detail. Unconditional promise or order, right? So this is where they go into great detail and they define what it means to be unconditional. What is unconditional and what is conditional? That's what they're talking about here in 3-106, right? And you're going to go down to payable on demand or at a definite time, right? So let's say like you're going to read this, right? Payable on demand, right? Now, if you read this, you'll realize you can just take your bills that you have that you're overdue on. You can cross out the due date and just write payable on demand and send it back, and it's no longer late.
What the fuck, bro?
No.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah. And
I mean, I've never been late on a bill actually, but
the section in UCC,
this will be nice.
The section in UCC 3 that allows you to do that and is very, very clear is actually UCC 3-114. And it says here, literally in black and white, if an instrument contains contradictory terms, typewritten terms prevail over printed terms. And here's the kicker. Handwritten terms prevail over both.
Oh.
The pen is truly mightier, my friends. The pen is truly mightier.
I don't think you understand what can of worms you just opened up, because I got plenty of things I want to say in some handwritten notes on my bills.
So whatever. So basically, there's a term called a novation, right? Novation definition, right? So let's say you're on it's the substitution of a new contract in place of an old one. So let's say you're on Facebook and Facebook says if you continue to use Facebook, you agree to the new terms and conditions. Okay. That's called a novation. Now you can write a novation and send it to them just as easily as they can send it to you. So what you're going to be doing is you can hand write a novation on the face of the instrument and mail it back. If they don't specifically rebut all the aspects of the novation, the new novation becomes the new contract enforceable in a court of law.
So keep track of all this. Make copies.
Oh, yeah.
Take photos. All
Yeah,
of
you
the
scan
things
everything
that-
in,
yeah.
and you're building your evidence. Everything you do in your whole life, you're building the
Yes.
evidence, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So here's where we're going to start getting into how to have infinite money. Okay, we've gone through some of the basics. Okay, so infinite money is we're going to need to pull up a couple things. We're going to need to pull up this one, and this one. Okay, so let's see, and we're going to need one more, 8-102 subsection 11. Let's see, there we go. So now we have a negotiable instrument. So let's say they just slid across the table mortgage documentation, and they say Mr. Whatever, they say sign here, right? You're not actually signing anything. What you're doing is you're looking at an unconditional promise to pay. That unconditional promise to pay is a promissory note, and you are not going to sign that promissory note. You are actually going to endorse, spelled with an I, that promissory note, and you are going to bring that promissory note into existence with your endorsement. Now, what is the definition of an endorsement? A signature that alone or accompanied by other words, again, UCC 3-114. So whatever you write becomes the new contract over there could be 500,000 page contract. And all you do at the very bottom of it is you say, don't agree to arbitration, a few little lines, and you handwrite it. And then boom, whatever you handwrite instantaneously replaces 5,000 pages of contract. Whatever you handwrite is king.
Right.
So it means a signature that alone or accompanied by other words is made on a security certificate in registered form or on a separate document for the purpose of assigning, transferring, or redeeming the security or granting a power to assign, transfer, or redeem it. That's called negotiation. The term negotiation, negotiable instrument, means it has to do with exchangeability. So if you are shifting or transferring or changing negotiation of an instrument, you are assigning, transferring, or redeeming it, or giving a power to assign, transfer, or redeem it. So the way in which the negotiation of the instrument behaves, you are the one who writes the rule book.
Okay.
So whatever you write in the quote unquote signature box, which is actually an endorsement box, you're the one who basically all the negotiability of the instrument is defined by you and only by you. So you're the one in control of that instrument entirely when they slide it across the table and they say sign here. You have all the power in the fucking planet. You have the power to put people in prison for 25 years. You have the power to get houses for free, planes for free, boats for free, everything you've ever wanted. It's all free. Actually, you get paid, and I'll explain to you. You actually get paid for buying homes. You get paid for buying a plane. You get paid for buying a yacht. And I'm going to explain to you how that works. And it all comes down to the endorsement. Now, the way it works is when you endorse the instrument, what everyone is doing all the time is they're doing what's called a blank endorsement, right? So a blank endorsement is an endorsement that does not state the payee, right? It says here a promise or order is payable to bearer, meaning to anyone who has the instrument. Payable to bearer just means literally anybody who bears the instrument, anybody who has it. It's called the holder. Anyone who's the holder of the instrument, anybody who bears the instrument is the bearer, and it becomes a bearer instrument when it does not state a payee. Who is this instrument supposed to be paid to, right? That's called a blank endorsement. So when you sign with a bunch of squiggles or your pretty little whatever initials or however whatever horse shit you put in that endorsement box, what you're doing is you're releasing that negotiable instrument to anyone who wants it. It's payable to the bearer. So let's say, for example, you have a mortgage that's for $1 million home, and then after 30 years at 5% interest, it's going to be 1.6 million or 1.5 million. Let's keep it really simple. Okay. So $1 million home, and then the full no, let's say 2 million on the full loan. You're going to pay $1 million in horse shit. So what happens is that negotiable instrument, the value of that negotiable instrument is the value of the maturity of the instrument. It's not a $1 million instrument. It's actually a $2 million instrument. Okay. Because all the interest is part of the promise.
Yeah.
It's the full value of the full promise is the value of the instrument. So what happens is when you sign it with a blank endorsement, you're saying, thanks so much, guys. I don't need this valuable promise. I don't want to have anything to do with it. And I release it to anyone who wants it without condition. It's payable to the bearer. Now, what happens is the banking institution, they turn around and they go at 12 USC 412 and they write up what's called an application for notes. And and it says right here, it's called the Federal Reserve discount window. And they even have a fucking website. This is the Federal Reserve discount window. Now, what happens is the bank, using a service called FedWire, typically, they write up what's called an application for notes from 12 USC 412, right? So what they do is it says here that there has to be these collateral securities, and they offer these collateral securities as essentially the backing for the Federal Reserve notes they're applying for, right? And these collateral securities can be drafts, bills of exchange, promissory notes, says notes, right? So what they do is they take the original promissory note that you signed with a blank endorsement, unconditional, payable to the bearer. They claim that instrument as their own, and then they put that instrument up as a collateral security, writing an application for notes. And then after what's called a discount, which is any fees or anything that come off of it, they get the full value of the full maturity of that note as a collateral. So they're getting, let's say, $1.9 million in Federal Reserve notes back from the Federal Reserve discount window. Then they turn around and they pay the seller of the home with the $1 million. They pocket $900,000, and you still owe them $2 million in the first loan.
Dude, they fuck us so hard every day. This is crazy.
Oh.
So now this is where the fun begins, though. This is where the fun begins. So what I did was I had, I have a huge fan base, probably hundreds of thousands of people. I had them all run out and all file Freedom of Information Act requests to start collecting up all sorts of loans and business loans and mortgage documents. Mm-hmm. And these people don't have a fucking clue what's going on. So they actually started sending us original documentation with the actual fucking endorsements on the papers that they took to the fucking window.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
So these are examples. They're on my state national resources page of now we're going to go back. Now, these are called special endorsements. Special endorsements are endorsements that state the payee, right? It all comes from the Bill of Exchange Act. So let's look up, check. Let's look up what a check looks like, right? Now, a check always has the same terminology. Mm-hmm. What does it say here?
Pay to the order.
Pay to the order of. Mm-hmm. That is actually straight out of the Bill of Exchange Act. Pay to the order of, and then you state the payee. Brandon Joe Williams, Starbucks Inc., whatever. That's the payee, the person who is supposed to receive these funds. Another interesting thing is a bill of exchange is defined as an unconditional order to pay. Is this an unconditional order to pay?
No.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
A check is a bill of exchange. It's an unconditional order to pay. You're not saying pay Brandon Joe Williams if, and then you say the following condition.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got you.
You're saying, hey, bitch,
there are conditions.
Transfer this money now.
Right. Yeah.
It's an unconditional order to pay, right? It's a bill. Checks are bills of exchange.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So this is a negotiable instrument. You see? Literally everything is a negotiable instrument. Even your certificate of title is a negotiable instrument. Tickets are negotiable instruments. Everything is a negotiable instrument. And we can get into that maybe on a later date. Mm-hmm. But basically, so let's go back to this. So pay to the order of, right? Now, if you write pay to the order of, you are stating the payee. When you state the payee, that's a special endorsement. A special endorsement states the payee, right? So if an endorsement is made by the holder of an instrument, whether payable to an identified person or payable to bearer, and the endorsement identifies a person to whom it makes the instrument payable, it is a special endorsement. Mm-hmm. Now, you didn't write any of this information on the original negotiable instrument, but guess who did?
The bank.
Yeah.
The bank did. Pay to the order of Home Point Financial Corporation. Pay to the order of Wells Fargo Bank N.A. Pay to the order of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Pay to the order of Lakeview Loan Services Servicing LLC.
Wow.
Pay to the order of Gateway Mortgage Group LLC. These are special endorsements. Pay to the order of AmeriGroup Mortgage Corporation, a division of Mortgage Investors Corporation.
Some shit.
They are stating the payee of the extremely valuable $2 million promissory note that you essentially said you didn't want.
Yeah. Wow.
Now, they're writing without recourse on this. This is a really important part. This is one of the most important things of anything. This one piece of information will allow you to get absolutely anything you want for free.
All right.
So without recourse, without recourse is a phrase meaning that one party has no legal claim against another party. You
Makes sense,
cannot
yeah.
sue me for non-performance. If I never pay a fucking penny, you can never sue me. So what's happening is that the bank is getting this application for notes. So they're collateralizing the original security, and they're basically getting a loan of Federal Reserve notes from the Federal Reserve Bank. But they never have to repay the loan because they signed and endorsed without recourse.
Yeah.
It's free money.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And what's funny is anyone, if you go into a car dealership right now and you buy a Lamborghini, and everywhere you sign, you put without recourse, you never, ever need to make a payment, and they can't sue you. And they might repo the car, but you can go after them and you can sue them and you will win. That's illegal.
Holy shit, dude.
So now you just got to talk them into allowing you to put that on there.
Right. I was
No,
gonna
you just don't say anything. They don't know any of this information. No one knows any of this information.
Yeah, they didn't. Hey, they didn't tell us they were fucking doing it.
Yeah.
Nobody knows
Do you
any
just
of this
write it
information.
on the line before your name and then sign, or above
Yeah,
it?
well, so this is a full special endorsement. Again,
Right,
a special endorsement states the payee. Just because you put without recourse, you're still not stating the payee. If you want a full, like, for example, here's my litigation, and I'll show you in my litigation. If you go to current and previous litigation, you can see that we're in a bunch of lawsuits involving all of this information, right? And I have all the initial documentation all available for download. If you go into my litigation, you can see that I state exactly what the special endorsement is going to be, right? And if we go down into, this is my American Express case, where I break all the definitions down. I break everything down in a lot more detail. So you can get a lot more information by reading this. But if you go down, we have, here it is. So this is the special endorsement that I'm saying that Amex never told me about these endorsements. And that's fraudulent because it's basically a breach of fiduciary duty, and it's fraudulent that they never told me about these special endorsements. So I'm basically through fraud. Fraud allows you to turn back the clock on pretty much any contract. So you can actually change contracts at their inception point. So what I'm doing is through fraud, I'm changing the original blank endorsement to this special endorsement since the inception. So every single time I've ever stuck my credit card in a credit card reader, I'm claiming the security that was produced from that transaction. And I'm making that security payable only to me.
So the money you're spending is going to you, basically.
So every time I buy a coffee for $6, the security that is produced by that transaction automatically discharges the $6 owed, and I don't owe anything.
Dude, this
And you're literally
Hey, do you
you're
wanna
literally
sponsor
going
a
to court.
podcast, bro.
yeah, no shit, dude.
Wow, dude.
You can write this. You can write this special endorsement on anything. You got to look at it's real simple. You look at the document and you say to yourself, is this document unconditionally promising or ordering to pay anything to anyone? If the answer is yes, you're looking at an instrument, a negotiable instrument. If you're looking at a negotiable instrument, you can endorse it. You can endorse it with a blank endorsement, special endorsement. There's other types of endorsements too, but I'm not going to get into that because they're not really all that important. You've got infinite money. You can buy everything. So if you claim the value of a $2 million negotiable instrument on a $1 million home, and it comes back from the window $1.9 million. If you make the proceed, if you make yourself the payee of that instrument, the 1.9 million comes back to you. You spend 1 million on the home and you pocket $900,000 for buying the house.
You're doing what they're doing to you already.
Exactly. Now, there has to be what's called adequate consideration. Adequate consideration. There has to be adequate consideration in a contract. Okay. So the thing is that you have to pay the banking institution for essentially doing a currency exchange. The banking institution at that point is no longer a lender. They are a currency exchange.
Okay.
You have to give them a little something for doing the exchange for you,
Break 'em off a little
$1,000
piece.
or $1,500 or whatever. Yes.
Right.
10%
If you
for the
don't
big
have
guy.
adequate consideration, then you don't have a contract. So then at that point, you would get the $1.9 million back. You would give them a couple $1,000 for their time. You would give the seller of the home you're trying to buy the $1 million that he needs. And what's left over is a little bit under $900,000. You just got paid almost $1 million for buying a home.
Whatever. That's crazy.
Are there any examples of anyone being successful?
Well, this is what all of our this is what all of our litigation's all about. I'm showing you. So all of our litigation is involving all of this stuff, because purloining. So if you look here and we go down, I have all the different laws and stuff, which we're having a trouble getting some of these applied, but I'm working on sorting all that out. So we have, so in Title 18, which is all about, they have a whole section in there about negotiable instruments, right? So transportation of stolen negotiable instruments comes from 18 USC 2314. So you got to understand the way that the law works is it's not about what's right and what's wrong from like an ethical or moral standpoint, unless you have a jury. All the way up until the jury, it's just letter of the law, letter of the law, letter of the law. What is written, and the emotions stay out of it. There is no, so you got to think, if you release the original negotiable instrument with a blank endorsement, they're not really technically stealing it. You didn't state the payee. So it is payable to bearer. They grab it, it's payable to them, and they stamp it and they claim it. In the eyes of the law, in the letter of the law, they didn't steal it from you. Now, when you do a special endorsement and you state the payee, now it's full-blown theft. Okay. So when you start to get into theft of negotiable instruments, it's taken very, very seriously. We've got 10 years in prison, 25 years in prison. There's a whole bunch of these, right?
Wow.
So you've got transportation of stolen securities, securities and commodities fraud. So that first one was like 10 years in prison. This one, 18 USC 1348, securities and commodities fraud. This one is just this one alone is not more than 25 years in prison. Damn. So as soon as you put that special endorsement on there, now you can really, really hold their feet to the fire.
Right.
Because Title 18, now you can go to your local DA and you can say, these guys stole negotiable instruments from me and I want to hit them with, 60 years in prison. Damn. Peonage is another one. That's called debt slavery. So I'm hitting them with debt slavery because that's what they're doing. Right?
Yeah, or you can just give me the money. Just give me the fucking
money.
No,
the way it works is if you go all the way down to the bottom and you look at the very, very bottom of my complaint, right here. So this is the relief, right? Full discharge of all above loans in their current state, full refund of each individual extraneous payment made on the account using Federal Reserve notes, $250 million in damages payable in Federal Reserve notes. But then this is the best part. Optional. Amex will issue Brandon Joe Williams an Amex Centurion Black Card that has no credit limit and is automatically set off each month. This would require a limited power of attorney where Brandon Joe Williams would allow Amex to do special endorsements on behalf of Brandon Joe Williams and Brandon Joe Williams. This would include Amex being allowed to keep any interest generated on any promissory note or bill of exchange. This would also include the possibility of allowing these instruments to mature in an effort to bring larger interest gains to Amex. Brandon Joe Williams wants to ensure that Amex is being paid well for this work in order to establish equal consideration.
Oh my God. Well done, sir.
I think it's fitting that we can say, let's go, Brandon. And it actually be cool.
Right.
The one time it's okay to say it.
Oh, man. That's wild, dude. Oh.
So you can get paid for buying houses, cars, planes. You can actually get paid for buying them.
God, man, I don't even know. My brain is scrambling right now. I didn't expect all of this.
Yeah,
I
dude.
expected a little bit, but not all this, man. Wow.
I'm so glad we had him on before he gets huge. He's obviously gonna go. He's going big.
Yeah.
Like, and I have nothing but praise and thanks for you, dude. Honestly.
And
Thank
I'm
you.
signing up for your course.
Oh,
tomorrow.
me
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Have I given you guys
100%.
enough value to sign up for a free course?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man.
Whatever, dude.
Honestly, these days, that's like one of the most exciting parts of my day as I see that notification for your email coming through. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's watch another one.
That's wild, man. Yes, I'm going to sign up, dude. Everybody at home, if you like, again, if you're listening to this on Spotify or whatever, you need to go watch it on YouTube or Rumble.
Every
Click that
single
link.
thing he was telling you, he was showing you. So it's not
Yes.
just him saying it. He's showing you it in the code. So watch it.
Once again, tell everybody the sites to go.
OneStupidFuck.com. You can get to all my socials from there. You can get to, I have links to the law firm. I have links to the Amnesty Coalition. But then there's two other websites. There's WilliamsandWilliamsLawFirm.com. And then there's the AmnestyCoalition.org. But it's all accessible from OneStupidFuck.com.
And one.
And if you don't want to
right?
sign up, yeah, spelled out
One
O-N-E. If
spelled
you
out
don't
or
want to
the
sign
number?
up,
Spelled
still
out.
stop by the website because it's the most fucking hilarious website I've ever seen.
Okay, before we go, I have one quick question. Russell J. Gould, what do you think of him?
I think it's a cool guy. I don't,
It-
anyone who's trying to help, I'm pretty much a fan of. I just don't think that the quantum grammar system it's very, very difficult to learn how to wield that thing. It's like, it's like the sword that Cloud has in Final Fantasy VII, the huge broadsword that's like bigger than his whole body. It's sort of like how does you swing that thing around? It's sort of like, to me, it's sort of like the same. Yeah, it's kind of the same idea. It's like, but he's a super cool dude. I think he really has some really cool stuff. It's something that I got into a little bit. I got very overwhelmed by it, and then I kind of exited. So.
Okay, yeah, I just had a question. Yeah,
there's a lot of guys out there teaching a lot of cool stuff. I mean, there's I don't specialize in what's called, let's say, for example, adverse possession. So adverse possession is, let's say there's an abandoned piece of property. And that's why I laugh, because everyone's so scared about, all the foreclosures and stuff. I'm not scared at all, because through a legal process called adverse possession, you can just move in to any home that's not occupied, and you can actually legally possess the home. And there's a guy who I recommend. His name is Jaleel, and he's a great guy. His Instagram is Moorish Lighthouse _official, and he has a lot of really he used to just talk about everything, but now he's really specialized in adverse possession, and the way that he teaches is like really fun and really like basic, and he doesn't overwhelm you with a lot of craziness, and he's just very warm and friendly. I think his channel is really cool. I learned a lot from James C. Lovett, who's really phenomenal. Another guy named Christopher Hauser, older guy who's really kind of more grandfatherly. He's very amazing, very cool. There's a guy named Kenny with State Nationals Rock. He's a really cool dude. He's got a lot of fun videos. There's new people popping up almost every day. I mean, this thing is just starting to hit its huge wave right now of everyone getting into this. So, and I think part of that is because the information is getting a whole lot simpler, a whole lot better defined. There's a lot of definitions that people are finding, and then they plug in. It's like there's like this big matrix of all these different people, and then the people come in and they'll have something new, and it'll sort of plug in, and there's just the amount of time it would take to learn what I know, over the past 2.5 years. I mean, you could probably get all this knowledge now in like less than 6 months.
It's insane, dude. Yeah,
and
you're right.
in a year from now, it's going to be probably like 3 months if you want to get all the.
Yeah, it'll be like download the app and we're in a free country.
Yeah,
this shit's going, dude. The network effects on just this happening alone is gonna be crazy.
Yeah. There's a lot of excitement stuff.
Is incredible, man. Like with the whole the nation thing and everything. I'm just blown away, man. I'm ready to sign up. We're doing it. We're doing it.
Yeah,
What do
you guys
think,
should also check out, if you want to have some fun, you guys should also check out the Republic of Slojamistan. So basically, it's a micronation here in California, but it's actually legally its own nation. I have I have a diplomatic passport of me in a pickle outfit. And
Is that thing gonna get you on a plane or what?
I'm gonna show this to you guys because this is super fun. I have to show you this before I go. This is so fun.
So good.
So the Republic of Slojamistan and the Sultan of Slojamistan, his name is Randy Williams. No relation, by the way. But here is the Republic of Slojamistan,
Bro.
okay? And he has his own. So he got a parking ticket down in San Diego, and he's blowing it up into this whole like huge PR thing where he's saying that like now he's under surveillance and stuff like that, right? He has landmine signs on his property and stuff that are, it's like a big fucking joke. It says danger landmines. There's 2 rules for Slojamistan. Rule number 1 is you can't wear Crocs in Slojamistan.
Fuck yeah.
God, I want to.
So this is Slojamistan. It's in the middle of nowhere. There's literally just a concrete slab and a desk. That's all that's there. And they also have stocks, right? Now he's been on the news all over the world. Channel 5 News, Channel 7 News, Channel 9 News, all over the place. He's got a national anthem, slogan, national animal. He's got diplomatic license plates, all sorts of stuff, right? So if you can become a citizen for free, you can become an ambassador, and you can also become a member of parliament. Now, I am both a member of parliament as well as an ambassador. Okay, so you scroll down here. So here's parliament. We got the chief border agent, emergency services, and then as you go down farther, it starts to get goofier. You got the crown prince, minister of tomfoolery. Here we have the princess duchess of croc rehab. Okay.
That's great.
Larry Pancake is the minister of margaritas. You can click on this. And
Hell yeah.
You can see Larry Pancake, right?
There you go, Larry.
So if you go down, you're going to see me here in a moment. Let's see. We got, where am I at? Let's see. There I am.
In a pickle suit.
Prince of Pickles.
This is great, man.
Oh my God.
So his nation, so my nation's based off of like education, right? And it is a legal nation. It's totally separate nation. It's a foreign government legally. His nation is just a goofball. It's not based off of any information. He doesn't teach any of this stuff.
No, he's just basically giving them the fingers.
It's just
a meme.
Straight up goofball. It's just goofiness.
It's a big meme.
It's literally a gigantic meme. And there's a whole shop, and you can get bandanas for your Viva Slojamistan.
Can we just talk about how the name is Slojamistan?
Yeah, that's fucking dope, dude.
He literally walks around. He has his own police car and he drives it around. It's got lights and everything. He drives it around in town. He's got his own fire truck. On the side of the fire truck, it says "Where the hose at?" HOSE.
Oh
Bro.
man!
See, look right here. Where the hose at?
Oh
See?
my God.
Hell yeah.
Oh, wow, dude.
That's
This is
insane.
awesome.
And you also have now Slojamistan was actually born from Nevada micronation. I forget the name of it. Malosia. This is the oldest non-tribal micronation. I think it's 1977 is when this one was. Now Randy Williams met this guy because Randy Williams has been all over the world, the Sultan of Slojamistan, and he wanted to go and he had been to almost every nation on the planet, and he heard about this micronation in Nevada, and he went out and visited this guy who has his own micronation in Nevada, right? Full blown. And this is actually the source of inspiration that got Randy Williams to open Slojamistan.
Wow.
Malasia.
That's awesome, dude.
And they even have, as of I think last year, they have the MicroCon Las Vegas, which is an entire convention now just for non-tribal micronations.
What?
And they do it every 2 years, and I will be at the next one, which I think is this year.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Dude, this is wild, man.
It's a whole nother side to the world.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, dude. Well, I can honestly say my brain is melted.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I was glitching the whole time. This is crazy, dude.
It's like this wave of emotions. You know what I mean? Like you just like whoa, and then you start like you laugh, then you kind of get angry a little bit. You know what I mean? 'Cause it's just like
The anger comes out in laughter.
it does. Like
Yeah. I can't believe I've been fucked this hard.
Well,
I was gonna say his name it's just dead on. It's like I
Yeah.
really do feel like one stupid dude who's been fucked. I don't.
we can only take it because we've been burned before. We already knew. We already knew we were screwed. It's just
Yeah.
man. Thank
Dude.
you so much for coming, and
Yes.
thank you for everything you do. Not just coming on here,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
giving
for
a
real,
free
man.
class on all of this is amazing. The more people who can get it out, the more people who learn it and can teach it to other people, the better we're off we all are. It's just it needs
He's
to
doing
get
it
out
for the
there.
right reasons. He's doing it for the right reasons. That's first and foremost.
Hell
Yeah, and I make all my money now on the litigation end, so it's all good. And then once I get my black card, I'll be retired with private jets. So it's gonna be
Golden.
Oh, it's insane, dude. All right, thanks a lot, Brandon.
You're welcome, guys.
Yeah, thank you
Thanks
so
Josh,
much.
was this live or is this going to get released soon, or how does this work?
Monday.
We'll-
Monday.
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 Yeah,
Awesome.
we're gonna
Send
send
me an
you
email. This would be a good one for me to share with my audience.
Oh yeah, we're gonna
Awesome.
send you the links.
This is where we say
For
death
sure.
faded out. Thank you so
Yes,
much,
sir.
man, for coming on. And if you ever want to come back, if anything new comes up, you're always welcome. This was a great time.
Yeah, hit me up in like a month and we'll set something else out. I'm always down to come back.
Yeah, I'd
Okay.
love to do a
There's
live too,
obviously
man. Next
plenty-
time we'll do a live.
Yeah, if you're down, next time we'll do
If
live
you're
for
down,
sure.
Sounds good to
Alive.
me.
Crazy.
Awesome, dude. Awesome.
All right,
Gentlemen, it's been insanely badass.
It really has.
Let's go,
Hell
Brandon.
yeah. Hell yeah,
Go,
dude. Let's go,
Brandon.
Brandon.
All right, man. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.
All right, so
Later.
Peace.
later.